Hi, folks. Welcome back to Vino Experience with David Alexander. Um, I'm going to make a little bit of a shorter video today, mainly because my wife and I were enjoying this bottle of wine here, and it was so good that I thought, well, I need to share this with people. I need to share a little bit about this winery, a little bit about this area, just because it is one of those areas, I think, for Southern California that a lot of people have experienced, but maybe some people just haven't gone up yet. And we are talking about Paso Robles. Paso Robles. And what is incredible about this particular area is that, to me, and this is not an expert speaking, this is just a wine guy, okay? I'm thinking that Paso is coming into that location that may be one of the third best locations in California, behind Napa and Sonoma. And I really believe that the cabs, especially from Paso, are going to overtake Sonoma as some of the best cabs produced in the state. I don't think it'll ever arrive to the level where Napa wines are at, but I think that they are going to be definitely that second location for some really great Cabernet Sauvignon. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the history about Paso. Talk a little bit about, and then we'll go to the winery that we're going to be mentioning that this bottle came from. Paso history began in the late 1800s. Actually, before that, we could say that it actually began with the Mission San Luis Obispo, very close to Paso Robles, who began growing grapes for communion wine, as did many of the missions, and that actually happened in the late 1700s. But by the late 1800s, what we're seeing here is that Paso Robles is changing from just an agricultural area to a major player in wine. And so some of the first people that planted there planted on York Mountain, which is a special area in Paso Robles. And if you can ever get a hold of some York Mountain wine from Paso Robles, absolutely delicious. Um, and so, fantastic area. Obviously, what's interesting about Paso Robles is it's probably one of those, again, like Napa, has a special environment just for grapes for wine. And the reason being is that, first of all, wine grapes really like soil that is called calcareous, which is basically soil that has a lot of crushed seashells and sandstone and these type of materials inside the soil that will hold onto some moisture, but for the most part has an incredible amount of drainage. So the water does not just hang on the surface; it goes into the soil and continues to go deep into the soil while retaining some moisture inside these porous material that's inside the soil. And that's just wine grapes love that. That is like the best environment. And the other thing is that Paso Robles, it can be a very hot environment, which is great for ripening the grapes. But then what happens is, if it stays hot all the way through the day, the wine actually, the grapes actually get too ripe for wine, because what you want is a perfect ripening of the grape that maintains the acidity in the grape as well. So there's an incredible effect in Paso Robles called the Templeton Gap effect. And what that does, it actually creates a diurnal change in temperature. Basically, the temperature change between night and day can be as much as 30 degrees. So it can be 100 degrees during the day, and all of a sudden, in about 45 minutes, it'll drop down to 70 degrees. That is perfect environment for wine grapes, because they get a rest. They're working all day, getting ripe, doing their jobs, but they need to go to sleep at night. Well, if it's a long, slow process of getting to that lower temperature, their grapes are continuing to ripen and they get mushy for wine. It's not great. It may be great table grapes, but not very good for wine. So, anyway, that diurnal change of temperature makes a fantastic environment for grapes. Now, in Paso right now, there's 300 plus wineries. It's halfway between Southern California and San Francisco. So instead of going all the way to Napa, guess what? Stop in Paso and experience some of these wines there. Now, we're going to talk about Austin Hope. Now, I have jokingly said that I have a bromance with Austin Hope. And I jokingly say, I don't really jokingly say, I really mean it. I'd love to go out and have a beer with this man because the reality is he is a hoot. He is both that A personality that you need to run a winery because boy, I tell you, a lot more wineries close because of the fact it's a tough business than actually would be open. So people try it for a while and just have a hard time. So you got to have that personality that really pushes through. Austin has that personality, but he also has this ability to say, "Hey, I've been helped in this business by other people." He was mentored by Chuck Wagner at Camus after he finished his school. Story of him growing up. He tells a story about one summer he got in trouble, and his dad said, "You have a choice of either going to summer school or working the vineyard." Well, he worked the vineyard, and guess what? He actually got the bug. And so many of these kids that grow up on the vineyards do that. Before they were actually the Hope Estate was actually growing apples and grapes. And Austin, I think, went to school and basically came back and all of a sudden the apples were let go. Let's just grow grapes so Austin can make some wine. And he is an incredible winemaker. He does a fantastic job. Now, he creates wines the way that I kind of like it. He creates some wines with some definite, evidently fruit on the wine. It's kind of that Camus style that you have a fruit forward, but then structure in the wine. But also, I think Austin Hope really does a great job also with the smaller varietals and does some unique blends there. I'd highly recommend going to the winery, do some wine tasting, especially take home some bottles that you can't find in stores. Take home some of the blends, the Rhone blends, or the single varietals that aren't being sold in the brick and mortar stores, that only be sold at the winery. And those are just absolutely incredible. In fact, today, well, let me first of all say this about the winery. They are a SIP certified, which is a sustainable in practice winery. I visited this winery, and what was incredible is to see what they do to protect the environment. First of all, one of the few wineries in Paso Robles that has no fences. Austin says, "Hey, the deer were here before us. We can't block them out of this land." And so, anyway, the vineyards are open. It's not unusual to see actually deer inside the vineyard, roaming through and finding some forage, some food. Second of all, they have owl houses that actually they use for pest control. One of the biggest enemies of vineyards are rodents and gophers and things like that that eat especially the roots of the plants. Well, a mating pair of owls will eat. I think somebody said 1,600 or 1,200 rodents during the course of a month during mating season. That is absolutely incredible. So it's a great way. They have a herd of sheep or goats that come in during the off season, and their droppings will actually fertilize the land. So fantastic, fantastic place to go. Uh, great. The brands include Liberty School, Triana, Quest, Austin Hope, Troublemaker, and their Austin brand. Really great, really great. Now let's talk about what we're going to drink right now. And this is actually one that my wife and I went and we were tasting at the vineyard at the winery there with my daughter and my son-in-law. And when I tasted this at the vineyard, I thought, wow, this is really good. I need to take this home. And so anyway, we bought this and brought it home. This is a 2022 uh, Cabernet Franc, 14.5 ABV. So a little bit hot on the alcohol side. $90 a bottle, well worth it. It is a premium bottle. It is their Cellar Select Cabernet Franc. And let's just taste this for a moment because I want you guys to go grab one of these. This is a very rich wine with really nice structure. Great with maybe some steak. I would even think I would put this with some braised tri-tips, because you could actually uh, braise your tri-tip in this and then have it for dinner as well. This is an incredible, incredible wine. Make sure you go out and grab one of these as you go up and taste, and enjoy Austin Hope wines. They're a fantastic winery. Incredible, incredible value. Now, you guys have been really helping us by subscribing to the channel. Now I'm going to ask you one more thing. Share with some friends. We need to grow this. This is this is my retirement, folks. This is my retirement. I'm going to try to grow this channel. I want to get this out there. I enjoy talking about wine, as you know. Somebody asked me, "Are you a wine expert?" No, I'm not a wine expert. I'm a wine geek, and I love geeking out about wine. So thank you for being with us. Subscribe to our channel. Share with your friends. Thank you so much.